Hi, this is Brenda from the Crafty Rock, and as it's getting near Easter, I thought it might be nice to share with you in one session how to make this little Easter chick with its cute bonnet, and it's made so that it will hold a chocolate egg, like a Cadbury's cream egg. So it would make a nice little gift for someone or a table decoration. So you need a few things for today. I'm working with the yellow, but if you like, you can do a chick in two-tone. That's more like a duck, I suppose, with the green and yellow. I've used the Aran Paris. It's a cotton, and it's normally used with a 5mm hook, but I'm going to use a 4mm just to tighten up the stitches a little bit. You also need some white for the bonnet, some orange for the beak, and something for the flower, and you need some black for the eye. Now you'll only need little scraps of those. So I have all these in the basket beside me. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a sewing needle for wool, and a little bit of stuffing. This is toy stuffing, but you could use cotton wool, I suppose, or even scrunched up tissue if you don't have any to hand. Now, this video assumes that you have some basic knowledge of crochet. If you're able to do chains and double crochets and slip stitches, you should be fine. If you're not too sure, just go back over some of the videos in our blog and you'll see how to do these basic stitches. So I'm going to start off now, and we work from the bottom upwards. So I'm going to make a slip knot, and I'm going to chain 32 stitches. Now, if you were working with a thinner yarn, if you're working with double knitting like muscat, you would probably need to put on a few more stitches to allow for the size difference. And if you were using a thicker yarn, you'd need to adjust it downwards. So I'm counting in my head as I go along. I hope I keep count. That's 10, 11, 12, 13, 22. Now you can, stop this video so that you get your 32 done. So there's my chain of 32. Now I'm going to keep the right side towards me, and I'm going to double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So this doesn't count as a stitch, that's the first double crochet there. So I'm going to go in and pick up that loop there, and I'm going to do a double crochet in each stitch along. Now I'm using the Irish and UK terminology for crochet. These are double crochets. If you've learnt using the American system, you would call these single crochets. And that's actually a good, if you pick up a pattern, often you see these patterns online, or you watch a video and somebody is doing a demonstration and you're not quite sure which terminology is being used. You want to listen out for the clue in single crochet, because in the Irish and UK system we don't have a single crochet. So if one is mentioned, that's definitely an American pattern you're using. So you need to adjust your stitches accordingly. Now on our blog, Rita did put up a table which gives the equivalents, the two languages, if you like, of crochet, and what equals what, so that's quite handy. So you're working down towards the end here, and after this row we're going to steadily increase so that we get the shape that we want for the chick, so that it's narrow at the base and widening as you go up. So almost there. No. Okay, there's still a few to do. It's this first row can be slow because you're starting off into your foundation row. Make sure you don't twist the chain. Now, 3 left. 2, and that is a stitch you go into. You don't try and go into the slip knot. Okay, so that's our foundation row. Now you're going to turn it and do 1 chain. Excuse me. Now double crochet into the first double crochet here, and then increase into the next stitch, and you increase by doing 2 double crochets into each. Now, as I say, this is easier now because I'm just finding the holes to go into. So I'm picking up 2 loops of the stitch, so it's a bit quicker. So you double crochet along. I'm just going to change the position of my hand here because I'm trying to work around the camera and it's a bit uncomfortable. Right, okay, that's better. Oh, I've lost my rhythm now. So, working along. And when we get to the end, we're going to stop at the second stitch before the end, and we're going to do another increase into that. So sometimes I get, I think I'm better this way. It's hard trying to find a comfortable position to work around the stand for the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm getting at the end. So I've gone to this one, and then I have 2 stitches left. So I'm going to do 2 into this, and then 1 into this one. So it's going to start going out like, you know, like a little boat, the way a child would draw a boat. So I turned, I did 1 chain, and I'm going to do the same again. Double crochet into the first, double crochet 2 into the second, and then double crochet 1 into each stitch along. I'll find a comfortable way yet. So this is the second sort of project we've done as initially we did them as live Facebook sessions, but we also made recordings for the blog. And the first project we did was a little more adventurous, maybe, in that it took 6 weeks to complete. We made a spring garland of flowers, and it was a lovely project to do because at this stage we had been in lockdown since Christmas, really, and the evenings were long, but we were all looking forward to spring coming. So being able to come together and learn how to make the different flowers was really enjoyable. We worked through, each week we did a different flower, so we did primroses, and then we did cherry blossom, and then another week we did snowdrops, and the 4th week we did the pansy, which was probably the trickiest of them all to do, but we got there in the end. And then we did the daffodil, and then we had one evening where we made leaves, made 3 different kinds of leaves, and then finally we put it all together. So 1, 2, 1 more to do. I mean, some ladies dropped in and out. They did maybe one of the flowers, but weren't able to stay with us for all of them. But I was delighted at the number of people that did complete their garlands and sent me photographs of them, which we put up on our Facebook page. So that's 2 rows done. So we're on row 3, or that was row 3. Now we've got another 4 to do, like this. Okay, so there's another 4 rows of just plain double crochets. So it would be nice now if I could just sort of speed this up for you, but it all has to be worked. Yeah, so we did our garlands, and it was nice. We have in the shop, we have normally when we can, we had crochet groups, knitting and crochet groups which met weekly, and of course we haven't been able to do that for some time now, so we had quite a few of the ladies who would normally come to that, did the live sessions with me, but we also gained quite a few new ladies who I hadn't met before, and it was really nice to have them join us, and they came from not just from this area where we are, but from Dublin and from around the country, and it's a great way, isn't it, of sharing ideas. Otherwise it would be very hard to keep motivated during these times when we can't get together. And what people said was nice was that it was making something pretty rather than something utilitarian, something that they, you know, could use. Most people can make granny squares or blankets, a hat or a scarf, but this was something different, something pretty, and they enjoyed doing it for that reason. Now, I think I've gone one too many, so this will be my increase here, and this is my last one. That's row 4. So you can see how it's... no, it didn't add it. I think I stopped too soon. I did. What was I doing there? Just talking. It's got a bend in it, that's why. I don't know why it did that. So that's an ordinary one. And now I've got my 2, so that's my increased one. And there. So when I turn it now, right, you can see it's increasing gradually at both ends. Right, okay ladies, 3 more to do. Well, I say ladies, because gentlemen are very welcome. So after that, we had a break of a week, and then I thought, well, I'd like to make something as a little gift to send to my grandchildren. So why not share it? So here we are. This is the recording of the, not of the live session, but this is sort of the practice run. And it's tonight actually. I'm doing the live session, so we'll see how that goes. This is a new medium for me to be teaching in. I'm a teacher by profession, but not a teacher of crochet or crafts. I was a secondary school teacher for over 30 years, teaching in Dublin, and my subject was science, and biology was my leaving cert subject. So I took early retirement back in 2008, and we moved from Dublin to Blackrock, just on a whim really, to be nearer to one of my daughters who'd moved up this end of the country and had our first grandchild. And I did retirement for a few years, got a number of things done that I was hoping to do, and then started looking for new projects. Now I'm at the second to the end, so my two there, and then the last one. So now 2 more rows to do, I think. I had, like many, joined the ICA. It's a way of getting to know people when they move to a new area. And that's what had sort of rewoken my love of crafting. I had always crocheted. I'd learned to crochet as a teenager. I was taught by one of my godmothers, which I'll always be grateful for. And I started crocheting again, and a lady I met was doing classes in Irish lace crochet, so I joined her for those, and it really all went from there. Started making things, and then started trying to sell them, and started doing markets and going to different shops, having my stuff in different shops, but nothing local at all. There was nothing that nowhere I found that I could do it here locally at the time, and it was by chance I met up with Rita, who was doing the same, and we got chatting one day, and after that the Crafty Rock was born. So that was 4 years ago now, and we've been busy ever since, or I've never been as busy. My retirement was definitely put on hold, but it's been very enjoyable, I must say, and I love being able to still teach, even if it's in a different subject. So 2 there, and 1 there, so we're on to the last one now. So when okay, so it's a nice diagonal forming there. When I left teaching, it was actually 2006 when I had to come out of teaching. At that stage, whiteboards were only just being introduced into the classrooms. I used an overhead projector, if you remember those. And so much has changed. Who would have thought, that school could be run on a Zoom class? I've tried to keep up with things as as new developments have come out. But I hadn't actually taught online, and the first few demos we did were a little bit of a disaster. We hadn't got the right equipment for holding the camera. The first night my husband ended up having to hold it for me. The second night the whole thing was done sideways. But then we got this stand, and because we can get the angle better, you can actually see what I'm doing, whereas before it was a bit tricky. So I don't know where it'll go from here. We're wondering whether to do our crochet group by Zoom, see if people are interested, because this is very one-sided. I'm chatting away here trying to fill in a gap, but I'm missing the interaction I'd have if I was actually in a group. So if we had a Zoom group, we could just come each week and share our work, show what we're doing. Not necessarily to learn new things every time, but just to chat. It would be nice. So that's maybe what we're thinking of next. So we'll keep you posted. We have a Facebook page, I'm sure you know, and everything we do goes on to that. I try and keep it fresh. We have an Instagram as well. I know Facebook now is not as popular as with the younger people. Instagram seems to be what they like to do, so we're trying to keep up to date with that as well. Snapchat, I throw my hat in at, and I haven't even tried TikTok. So here we go. That's 2. And the last one. So that is 7 rows that I've waffled my way through. 7 rows of double crochet. And what we're going to do now is just finish off that. So cut your end and pull it through. This is where I can get in a bit of a tangle. Pulled the wrong end through. So the end I've cut I should be pulling through and tie it there. Now I'm going to just sew in those ends, because otherwise I'm going to get myself into a knot. So you should have finished on the right side. This is the right side here. You can see with the chains forming those little row of slightly diagonal lines, whereas if you look at the wrong side, it's quite bumpy. You don't have those lines. So you want to sew in your ends into the wrong side. So get the needle threaded. I have to bring it a bit closer to do that. So I'm just going to weave it in a couple of times. the trouble with this Paris, it's quite a loose ply, so it's very easy to split it. I think I might use a slightly thicker needle just because I'm rushing. So just run it down the edge there. You're going to be stitching over that in the end anyway, so, but it's just to tidy it up for now. Same with this one. So what we've made now is the body, and we're going to put on the head now. Okay, so you've got your right side narrow edge down towards the bottom. Now, what you need to do now is count 8 stitches in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and join into this for the 9th. So now if you wanted to change and make a different colour head, as I did with one of them there, this would be the time to do your colour change. So 1 chain, and then we're going to double crochet across. Okay, so into that one. I'm going to crochet over that end. Just be one less I have to sew in. Now we're going to go down towards the other end and again leave 8 stitches. I haven't worked out how many I'm actually crocheting here, but it doesn't have to be an absolute science. Just still quite a way to go. Real spring-like day today. The weather's really, I'm recording this just the day before St. Patrick's Day, and the weather's just glorious here today. Now I need to count back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have one more to do there. Okay, so what we've done is, let me turn it around, you're going to fold this over, you've got your body, and this area here now is going to be the head. Okay. Now on this row and on the next 3 rows, we're going to decrease. So we're going to do 1 chain, double crochet, into the next two double crochets, and now we're going to decrease. Now to decrease you go in to make a double crochet, but you stop there when you've got the two on the hook, and then you go into the next hole and you do the same, so that now we have 3 on the hook. So then go under and pull through all those 3. So you've combined 2 stitches into 1. Let me just do that again. So start off as though you're doing a double crochet, but just don't close it over, and then go into the next one and do the same. 3 stitches on the hook and pull through all 3, and then carry on down to the end, doing the same at the other end. And there's the tail end of that piece I was crocheting over, so if I just pull that and snip it, it will disappear. So that's another end out of the way. I've started saving all the bits I cut off. I saw there was a group, I think in Waterford, who recycle bits of wool into new wool, and they can combine all sorts of different yarns together. Seems to be a great idea, and they will allow you, I think it's a credit system. Hang on, I'm talking too much and I've missed out. So I've got 2 left. Now I wanted to stop a little bit before that. So I want to leave it so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, because I'm going to decrease here, 1, and pull through, and then do 2. Okay, so decrease both ends, but I'm decreasing it in a little bit, so it's not going. You're not going to get quite the same sort of definite decrease as we got increase here, if you know what I mean. So that's the first row. Now I've got to do this another twice. So chain 1, one, 2 double crochets, and then a decrease in the next 2, and then along to the end. So yeah, this crowd, they actually will allow you a credit against wool, you know, per kilo you send them. Now you'd need a lot of ends to make up a kilo of wool, but I'm sure we've all got balls of wool that, you know, there's nothing to do anything with, just sitting in a bag somewhere. I know I've got a box of it upstairs. So one day I'm going to package it all up and send it down and treat myself to some of their lovely recycled wool. Now again, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 more to do. 1, 2 together, and then 2. Right, second row decreases. Now this is the last one then. 1 double crochet, decrease, and across to the last 4 stitches. One, two, three, 4, 5. So one more to do. Decrease. Okay. So that's 3 rows of decrease. Okay, there we go. Now, 1 row without any decrease, just to increase the height of the head. No decreases, just keep going right to the end. And this row then is going to be our final row, and we're going to decrease right across it. So do the same, 1 chain, 2 double crochets into the next 2, and then decrease. And then repeat. Double crochet, decrease. Double crochet, decrease. Double crochet, oh, no, it's supposed to be a decrease, so decrease, double crochet, and then decrease. You might end up with a double crochet, it doesn't matter as long as you have decreased evenly across there. So we're going to turn it, and then when you turn it, your right side should be out again. Now you want to fasten off here, but you want quite a long end because you're going to use this as your sewing end, and you're also going to gather the head with it. So I haven't finished off there. So I'll pull it through the loop, oops, to fasten off. Now I want to join the join the head together now. And I'm going to, with the right side facing me, I'm going to go underneath the two loops of the double crochet and around the posts of the double crochet and just weave across from front to back. So I came from the back there, so back through the front, back, front, back. Now, the purists wouldn't make this like this. They would do, they would probably use amigurumi, which would be a technique by which you work in a circle. Thank you. My husband's just brought me a cup of tea, but he's left it out of my reach, so. You've left it out of my reach. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to top stitch over the head here. Just to close the opening. And I'm just going to work my way back again, and then I'm going to turn that so that the wrong side's out, and I'm going to top stitch or whip stitch across to close the head. Or down the side of the head. I'll just stop there because I need to, once you get down to where you joined in the head, and I'll leave that down for a minute. Now we need to put in a beak before we go any further. So if you hold your piece, you can estimate where the beak should be. So about there. Now I'm going to use the orange here, and what I want to do is go my end. And just pop a loop in here and just hold it there with my thumb. It's a bit fiddly. Okay, so I want, that's kind of the middle there, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to put my hook in and try and grab the orange. And pull it through. Now, it might be handy just to knot that, just to stop yourself pulling it right through and losing your end. It's all going to be on the inside, so you're not going to see it. So I've got a loop there. Now I'm going to go then skip it into the next hole and making sure it's the long thread you're getting, pull up another loop. So I have 2 on the hook, and then in again and pull in a third one. So I have 3 loops, and I'm going to pull the first one through the second and through the first or the third. Okay, now I'm going to turn it the other way, and I'm going to go back into those again. So into this one, feel your thread, pull it through to this one, you're going to have 4 loops this time. Go into the 3 stitches, but you had the one already. So you've got 4 loops. I think I might have 5. I think I picked up the end. That one I think is the end one, not that one. Ugh. Okay, now I'm going to pull that first one through the others. I did it a bit too quickly there, didn't get the last one in. Okay, so back down to 1. Now I'm going to put the hook onto the inside again, and I'm going to reach in and pull down this one back into this side, and cut the thread and fasten off. So there's the little beak. It's maybe a little bit low on that one, but now the eyes. I'm using a bit of black I have in. It's a thinner one, but you can use whatever you have. You could use blue eyes, I suppose. So again, just approximate where you think the eyes should be, and go in and overstitch a couple of times. Keep pulling it out. I'll keep my finger on it. Now if you know how to embroider, you'll be able to do a French knot if you wanted there. So however many times you think until the eye looks big enough, and then maybe just go in the other direction a couple of times just to hold it. through and fasten it off. It's the sewing that takes so long in these. Now I've got that in there, so using the crochet hook just to put it in. So that's one, and then just feel across to the other side. Maybe you can see the black through it, and do the same on that side. I won't do it double because I probably won't have enough thread. I hate it when you're running out of thread and your needle's just too long to do that final stitch. Okay, so over and back a few times. Pull it together. Now, if you wanted to, I suppose you could use those little sticky, googly eyes, if you had any. Although if it's for a young child, probably this is the safer option. Right. Okay, so not too bad, not too for a rush job, not too cross-eyed anyway. There's that end I tucked in before. It's come out on the wrong side. Now we've now to stuff the head. So this will hide all your loose ends. And we want to give it a neck in the same sort of way as we tightened the crown of the head. So if you've got your end here, you're going to again crochet around, or not crochet, stitch around the stitches in between the posts. So you're producing a gathering thread. A bit high there. You want it underneath the beak. I was heading off in the wrong direction. back to where you started, and then push in the stuffing and tighten it. Okay, don't tighten it too much, otherwise. Well, don't tighten it too much at the back anyway. You can sort of pull it round so it's tighter at the front. Now, we're then to do the top sewing down his back. So you can see why I said have a long end, so that you don't have to keep joining in new pieces. Now, keep getting caught around the head. So right down to his tail end, and then we've got to do this line here of decreasing, or increasing, sorry. So okay, so down here. I have seen these done the other way, so that the egg sits like in the back of the chicken, and the bottom is stitched over, but I kind of like it as the little surprise hiding underneath the chicken. Right down to the bottom there. And a couple of over stitches, and weave it back on itself to hold it. I'll go up the inside here. Oh, she knows. Okay, now if it's cotton, it's nice and malleable. You can not let it quite as well defined as that one, but that's what rushing does for you. Could maybe do it a little bit tighter there, but hopefully the egg fits in there okay. Yeah, it seems to be a little bit bigger, that one. Maybe I wasn't exact on my stitches to begin with, but it does the job and it sits up. So that's the chick, and the hat, the little Easter bonnet if you want to do it. I just run through how to do that. I just take a little drink of my tea. Now, we want, that one fits better for that one actually. We want a hat with an increasing crown and then a little brim. So it's you want to use the same kind of method as you would use to make a larger size hat, and then a little bow. So put them to one side for a moment. So using the same hook, because I'm still using an Aran thread. Make your slip knot and make 2 chains, and then into the first chain you made, make 5 double crochets. I'm doing it this way so it's a fairly tight crown. If you can do a magic loop, that would be good as well. And 1 slip stitch there into the first chain just to close it. So we've got a little circle. Now 1 chain, and then picking up the next stitch, picking up both loops, do 2 double crochets. So we're increasing the size of our circle. Sorry, my hands are getting a bit. So you do 2 stitches into each of these. So we're going from 5 double crochets to 10. That's 3, 4 double crochets, and then the last ones. And then you've kind of got a stitch there that isn't, we're not going to stitch into, and you're going to do a slip stitch into that first chain that we did. I just slip stitch into the back of it there. Okay, so there's the circle now, increased to 10. So do it again, 1 chain, and we're going to do a row of doing 2 double crochets, into the first one, and then 1 double crochet into the next one. So we're increasing, but we're not increasing as much. 2 double crochets. If you've made a hat, you know how to do this. 2 double crochets into that one, and then 1 double crochet into the next one. So just taking the top 2 loops, 2 double crochets, and 1. So going around like this, we're increasing by 5, so we get to 15. 2, 1, 2, 1. That should be my 15th. And then I've got my stitch I ignore, and then my slip stitch into the side of that one. Okay. Now you're going to do 2 circles then with no increase, just one into each stitch. So just count that you are doing your 15. 2. So this should start it turning in a bit. 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. Okay, skip that, join there. And then the last one, the same thing, 1, and then 1 double crochet into each around. You see how it's sort of curling in now, so it's like we're coming down the side of the hat. Started at the wrong end of this. I hate it when you do that in the end up in a knot. Well, I've lost count actually. I'll have to do it by just looking. Sometimes it helps if you're not quite sure, you can put in a stitch marker into your first chain, you know, just so you know where it is. If you do too many, your hat's just going to keep on getting bigger, and I think we've probably all made at some stage a berry instead of a hat. Okay, so that's that. So it's okay. So to get the brim to turn up, you are going to do a row where you do 1 chain, and you're going to do 2 trebles, sorry, 2 double crochets into each stitch. And this will give it a little kink. So working around, putting 2 stitches into every one. Okay, almost there. And there's the one, and stitch in there. So you can see it's turned it up. And then if you do another row where you just do 1 double crochet into each one, it will deepen the brim for you. So 1 chain and 1 double crochet around. Now you could do a couple of rows of this if you wanted, just to give yourself a nice turn up, but I'll stop after this one because you've got the general idea. Oops, sorry. And must be getting there. The end. A few more to do. This has turned out to be quite a long class, but it didn't really seem to be worth splitting it into 2 sessions. So I hope you've stuck with me. There we go, and finish it off into that one. So I need to stitch that end in. So that should, with a little bit of encouragement now, should brim up. Probably would benefit by 1 more row. And then you can tie a ribbon around it if you want to, or a thread, make it look like a ribbon if you want to put it around it, or you can make a little bow and pin it to it, or stitch it to it, I suppose. That one, I think his head is just a little bit too big. Maybe that would have benefited by 1 more row of increase because his head was bigger. Probably fits this one a little better. Okay, obviously I made this chick a little bit larger. So there you are. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'd like to wish you all a very happy Easter. Bye now.